Hey guys, this is Dr. Samir Islam. I want to thank you for joining me tonight. Now in today's video, I want to talk about how to get an awesome letter of recommendation. Now as an attending, I have a lot of people who come see me, whether they're college students hoping to get into med students hoping to get into a good residency program, or even residents hoping to get into a good fellowship program, who ask me for a letter of recommendation. There are some students who I'd be gladly to give a letter of recommendation to. They do great, they've made an impression on me. But there are plenty of other students who I'm like, I'm not quite sure if I'm the right person to give you a letter of recommendation. And in tonight's video, I want to explain what would make me give you an awesome letter of recommendation. What can you do to ensure that you have someone who can give you a good letter of recommendation? So one of the first things I want to talk about is why you actually need a great letter of recommendation. What I found when I read letters of recommendation is that it helps to personalize the person and personalize the application process as well. We get thousands of applications that we have to go through every single day. And it's very hard to differentiate one person from another person, especially when you have two equal people. But one of the things that I have found personally to help differentiate one person to make them stand out in my mind is a very good letter recommendation. This is very critical in terms of helping me to realize this person is unique and may offer our program something that's very different than somebody who doesn't have that. The other thing too is that it helps to differentiate yourself. When I see somebody who has a very good letter recommendation and it blows my mind away, this keeps in my mind kind of what that person is. It allows me to at least personalize the application and allows me to keep that person in my thought process of whether we should have them come to our program or not. A lot of people have good letter recs, but very few have great letter recommendations. And this is really key. We see a lot of letter recommendations that are very generic. This person's good, he's a hard worker, he came on time, etc., etc., etc. But there are very few letter recommendations that are outstanding, that are great, that really make an impression on me. And when you can get a great letter recommendation, that really will make you stand out. And it really makes a difference. We've had plenty of candidates who are equal in terms of scores, in terms of their research, who the letter recommendation alone made the difference in terms of us accepting them or us not accepting them. And so how to get an awesome letter recommendation? Number one, you have to make yourself a known quantity. Us as attendings, we see thousands of medical students, residents throughout our years. And so it's very hard for us to sometimes differentiate one med student from another. It's very hard for us to differentiate one resident necessarily from another as well. One way that I found personally to be helpful in terms of me writing a great letter recommendation is to make yourself a known quantity. Impress me. Do something that's out of the ordinary. Do something good. Bring in articles. Bring in research topics. Talk to me about certain conditions. Make yourself a known quantity. If you're a student who's in the background, who's not doing a lot or not impressing me, I will not remember you. And if I don't remember you, I cannot give you a good letter recommendation. Make yourself memorable in a good way. Find some way to impress me, whether it's bringing up research that you can talk about, whether it's expanding your differential diagnosis, whether it's reviewing a review paper on that particular patient that you may be seeing and explaining that into the group. Be a go-getter. Make sure you try to stand out as much as you can in a good way. Number two is do things outside the rotation. This is very important. You know, once we've had the rotation with you, whether you're a med student or a resident, we often forget who you are. But if you're involved with us in research outside of the rotation that you're in, we can remember what you do. If you were involved with us with extracurricular activities, whether it's volunteering with us or in different organizations with us, we can help remember who you are as well. And so make sure you do things outside the rotation that you're in to make us remember who you are. I had a med student once who I had follow me for one rotation. And this med student, after the rotation was done, followed me to do research as well. She came to me and asked me, what research can I do to help me to learn more about a particular topic? And we introduced her to research topics. We actually got papers published. She came on her own outside of the rotation to come find me to make the initiative to make her known to me, but also to allow us to publish some papers. And this allowed me to get to know her, and I wrote her an amazing letter of recommendation. So it's important to check in every once in a while. You know, if you have an attending who you want to get a letter recommendation from, check in. Send them an email. Say, hey, Dr. So-and-so, how are you doing? I'm just seeing how you're doing, how things are going. This is where I am in my life. Or even better, come find us. Either find us in our office, find us in the clinic, find us in the hospital. Come find us and just say, hey, I'm so-and-so. I don't know if I'm coming in to check up on you, just seeing how you're doing, how things are going. I'm currently doing this and this and this. That constant check-in will allow us to remember who you are and will keep you in our mind to allow us to produce an awesome letter recommendation. And it's also important to come up to your free time to do stuff with us. Now, I've had students who wanted a letter recommendation from me who would come up on their spare time and maybe join me in doing EGDs or colonoscopies, or join me for doing the procedures on their own time. They would join me in clinic when they had some free time as well. They came in on their own time when they were outside the rotation to come find me to do things with me, and I could remember the initiative that they took, but more importantly too, I could remember who they are so I could write them an awesome letter recommendation. So I know you're busy as either students or as residents or fellows, but it really is important to just come in at the times whenever you're free to do stuff with us, whether it's doing procedures with us, whether it's writing papers with us, whether it's conversating with us, just finding something to do to check in with us and to do things on your own time would really impress us to allow us to write an awesome letter of recommendation. And more importantly, it's important to get stuff done. There's nothing more frustrating for an attending for us to give a project to somebody and it takes weeks and months to get it done. That is so frustrating, and I absolutely hate that. The thing that impresses me the most is when I give a resident or a med student a project and it gets done very quickly. I love that, and attendings love that. And that makes an impression on my mind that you're going to be a go-getter, and I can feel comfortable writing you an awesome letter of recommendation. And then lastly, ask us. Ask us if we can write you a great letter of recommendation. That gives us an option to say no if you don't feel like we can. It also gives you the confidence that if they say yes, you are going to get a good or an awesome letter of recommendation. I would really advise this. I would literally just ask, do you feel comfortable writing me a good letter of recommendation? And if they say yes, then you're good. If they say no, then all right, that's fine. At least you know that they will not write you a good one. You can focus on somebody else, but just ask somebody. Now, these are some of the tips that we would recommend to get a good letter recommendation. I think if you follow these tips, you're going to find yourself getting great letters and hopefully getting into whatever endeavor you want to. I want to thank you guys for listening to me, and I hope you guys have a good night. Thanks and take care.